Here it is, the Flash video that I guess some were waiting for, or probably just me. And first getting into here, I must say it was not really challenging considering he's only like two colors, but it was pretty tough with this whole yellow situation on his boots and belt because yellow, no matter how strong it is, the pigment is just always going to be multiple coats. I mean, come on, has anyone really worked with yellow? It's just a big pain in the ass. And I understand I could have had a more easier time had I put a white undercoat under it, but I really didn't want to make this video as long as it didn't need to be. And up until the red part, it just took one can of spray paint, but at the end, I just wanted to put more texture into the costume, as I just don't like when models are just too easy to fix. So I ended up just putting some texture all over the statue, and I loved the way how it came out, and I really did like the details that I put at the end. But had that be said, I am going to go into another rant because I just like talking about stuff as I'm painting along. If you guys want a painting tutorial, if that's what you're really here for, go to my YouTube channel. I'll go into more depth. But at the meantime, I'm just going to be sticking to this right now because I just find it a lot of fun. Now, you all need to know I have never watched the Flash TV show. It just never clicked with me, or either some CW TV shows. It just had like the Disney Channel kind of filter going with it.
I am vengeance.
And now watching Arrow, I know that's further from the truth because damn, that show went pretty hard. But had that be said, watching a bit of Flash, I really don't understand why people like the show. No, I'm being dead serious. Like, if you look up Flash the TV show anywhere on TikTok, you'll just find like a whole bunch of fans just talking shit about it, saying how this didn't make any sense. Why couldn't they do this? Why couldn't Flash go over here? It was just like a whole big Mod Podge of hate, honestly. I mean, I think it kind of killed it for me when Flash used a lightsaber and for some reason he couldn't keep up on a motorcycle. It's stuff like that that could really ruin a whole series or a movie for me. Like, for example, I mean, Thor Ragnarok. If any of you wanted to watch anything on my videos, you would know that I put best like movies that are 10 out of 10 and I put Thor Ragnarok. See, that was good until I realized someone pointed out, how did the god of lightning get electrocuted? Right? Like, I don't understand it. This guy's going like millions of bolts going through his body, and one to his neck just instantly shut down his bones. And I understand someone could explain it, but it just, at the end, doesn't make any sense at all. He's not really human. He's practically an alien, and I'm sure he could adapt to any electricity. But honestly, it's not just Thor. I mean, with this whole superhero entitlement in general, with the whole franchises going down the hill, how Marvel hasn't been good the way how it used to be. And people are like, their TV shows are way better. And I'm like, no, they're not even close. You could have a few couple of episodes, and Daredevil was pretty much killing it because, you know, the director gave a shit. But everything else, I just really didn't want to get into it. I mean, She-Hulk really went down the hill after there. And then you had these comic book nerds saying, oh, you guys never read a She-Hulk comic. And then I'm like, if it's accurate to the comic book, then why was she, you know, famous to begin with? Because that was awful. I mean, it just comes into entitlement why I just don't like superhero shows. They just either get corny or plot twist or don't need to be there, and just doesn't make any sense. And this could go even further to like The Boys and what they really stood for. They were just making fun of the whole genre in general. That was the whole point of the comic book as well. And I must give respect that they kept that whole gimmick in line up until season 3. But as soon as season 4 and 5 came out, they just took everything they had and threw it right out the window and became more the very thing that they were making fun of since the beginning. And they kept reusing subplots that were already explained in previous episodes. And it's just the same thing in general. Butcher goes a bit too far. The team calls him out on it. Butcher leaves, and then he comes back, and he's the only one with the plan. And they just solely go along with it up until the ending. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I mean, Butcher is the one most determined to win this war. It's just the fact that you had more subplots to use in this whole universe you made to make the whole story more interesting. I mean, did everyone forget about the whole deep redemption arc that we're trying to do in season 2? It was honestly brilliant, and I actually thought he was going to become an actual superhero and redeem himself to Starlight and the world and himself. It just would have been a great storyline, but they never bring it up ever again. I think another thing that also pisses me off is that Homelander is a full-out psychotic in Season 5, and he's a complete idiot. That's why they had to make Sister Sage come in and become the whole ideal of what he wanted to do. She came up with everything. And I truly do like Sage. She's actually a huge threat to the boys and the whole communication when it comes to the United States Empire. But honestly, why couldn't they make Homelander smart? If those who didn't even watch the show or even remember, when the whole thing with the plane and when it went down, Homelander, thinking fast, he told everybody that he should have been here to save everybody, but the whole political outcome against Supes hold him back. And that was just enough for them to get the votes they needed to go into the military. Hell, this guy put together a giant lie in front of his face, and the stories were adding up, but the little details didn't make any sense. That convinced him enough to figure out that they were lying. Do you know how much thinking and communication in your own mind to figure out how something like that could be fake? You have to be, like, really sharp-minded to do so. But in this fucking shit, he's just doing nothing. He's having a nervous breakdown throughout the whole season, and he's just sitting down in his tower like a bitch. Like, what is this new generation of turning our superheroes into wusses? Like, I don't understand. Like, has any of you watched Invincible with the whole immortal thing? Like, why is he such a bitch? I get that he always gets back up, but every time when Omni-Man shows up, he's down for the count, and he's always getting back down. Also to mention that Omni-Man is just like an entitled superhero that doesn't really make sense for his whole arc to come into. I mean, wow, Nolan, what did you do? You attacked a whole bunch of people that was on a city-state and you slaughtered them like they were nothing with your own son's body? What could go wrong? Why does everyone hate me? Why does no one want to forgive me? I've done so many good things. That's because, Nolan, you're just an asshole and it's nothing stopping you for doing it again. Like, you told your own wife, who you knew was listening, a pet. You killed your long-term friends that you knew for over 25 years like they were nothing to you. And you're so entitled to think you deserve forgiveness? No thank you. There was another content creator that actually said it the best. Why is Vegeta and Nolan not forgiven? Because here's the thing with Vegeta. Vegeta doesn't want forgiveness. He knows the things he's done in his life are unforgivable. That's why he declares to being a villain, and despite doing the good things he has. It's to keep the people in his life safe. From Bulma to Trunks and even to Goku. He was so convinced that his own actions will drag him to hell that when even Piccolo confronted him telling him that he will go to hell doing this, he said it was okay. And he still thought he was not forgiven as soon as he went to heaven as well. This whole monarch of us looking back on our lives and the things we've done in our lives makes it so relatable to see what Vegeta really meant. He knows that he could be unforgiven to the people around him, but that does not mean he can't do good things. Nolan is over 3,000 years old and he should know between the rights and wrongs of the world and universe. And Vegeta isn't that old to Nolan, so why can't he figure that out? Like, I don't understand what's been going on in modern TV where every single one of them have one thing in common. Taking their time, subplots that go nowhere, and just wasting my time at the final season. It just makes me pretty sad, man. I don't remember any other TV show that had a good ending. I think the last one had to be Breaking Bad, but that's pretty much it. I understand most of you could probably come up with some shows that had good endings, but to me, there's not too much because, you know, I'm probably wasting my time with the bad ones. But I can see why everyone's turning to anime. Like, everyone into the source of anime community is actually really stuttered with their whole story arcs, characters, and everything in between. And anime, I would say, takes way too long to end. But even though when it takes so long, it doesn't mean it's not going to have fun with it all along the way. Now, I must say that this superhero genre to me is pretty much dead. The Marvel Universe already had its ending back in the day, and I was pretty satisfied, so made me gave up on it. The DC Absolute Universe with James Gunn was just awful, and I just don't want to confirm it either more, because with the whole Peacemaker thing and jokes just really bad, it's just not my favorite kind of deal going on right now. But however, I could always look back on the mere classics of what DC animation really was, and still is. Like, Flashpoint is by far one of my favorite movies of all time, right next to Under the Red Hood. The whole declare of the characters, reimaginings, Thomas Wayne having the full regret of what he could have stopped, and the whole thing with Flash having the whole weight on his shoulders of what he really destroyed really hits hard, and I just loved every second of the movie. So with those memories, I decided to make this Flashpoint statue. Let me know what you guys think about it. If you want a full tutorial, let me know and I'll upload a second video.